Last point. I do not allow any of my clients to, in any negotiation that I've ever been, to lie. I'm a huge proponent of telling the truth always. 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 That is not the same as saying every time we walk into a room, we tell them everything we know. Say, this is the most we'll ever be able to pay, and here's the thing, and here's how much money is in my wallet. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about not lying. And the reason is, first, it's the right thing to do. It's not fair, I think, to say, well, we're negotiating, so that's different than how we are in real life. Or that was a deal. This is your real life. This is what you're doing. And incidentally, if you're sitting in this room or if you're on CNBC.com and you're watching this or wherever else you might be live streaming it, I don't know if Inc. is doing it as well, I'm pretty sure that there's nobody in this room or anybody who's watching this thing who can't afford to be more ethical. There are people out there who don't have very much. None of those people are in this room. So everybody here has the ability to just be more ethical when it comes to these things. And at least in my experience, people don't lie because they're slimy people. They often lie because they're not prepared. They're not prepared to answer the tough questions. Or they're impatient. They want to get somewhere sooner, whether that somewhere is success or there somewhere is farther in the deal process. I always have to remind people on our side, not because they're worse people than I am, I have the same temptations. You got to step back and you got to make sure you're being honest. And every great negotiator I've ever met, in business, in diplomacy, people that I really think of as effective negotiators, I think every one of them would tell you they guard their credibility with their life. If they say they're going to do something, they will, walk over coals to make sure they do it. And if this hasn't happened to you yet, I assure you, somewhere along the way in your journeys as deal makers, as negotiators, there will come a day when the only leverage you have in a negotiation is your credibility. It'll be the only reason somebody's willing to sit down with you. It will be the only reason they're willing to take the risk you're asking them to take. You have no other leverage except they think you're credible. They know you're honest. They know you're saying it and you mean it. They know they can respect or trust you. And when that day comes, you'll be even more glad that you didn't end up letting these things slide. Because most people, I don't want to get all preachy here, but since it's item number 22, why not? Most people don't lose their credibility by one, histrionic act of backstabbing that they did that everybody heard about. Usually people lose their credibility and they lose their reputation a little at a time. You said something you didn't end up doing it because it was inconvenient. You said earlier in the deal process, this is really important, you can't not have this, but later on you ended up making that concession. And now they're like, wait a second, how do we ever know what you mean? So you have to be very, very mindful of it. And I don't know where to draw the line except always. Because anytime you draw the line anywhere else, then there's no accountability even to yourself. So that's 22 tweaks.